Hello and welcome to the Ink Archive. My name is Brian. I am joined with Tyler today as we're going to be watching a pretty cool match from our local scene. Tyler, tell us kind of what we're going to be looking into.
Yeah, we got a longtime player of Emerald Amber Under the Sea combo. I think it's kind of gone through a couple iterations as it's existed, but he's been playing this deck for pretty much since its inception. It's a cool deck. I know it's one of the challenges, at least, utilizing like Kita and Ariel to sing Under the Sea and basically kind of be prepared your opponent in a way. It's really neat. It's kind of like a tempo-y mid-range deck. And then on the other side, we have Amethyst Amber. Um, Pretty aggressive locations, things like that, making it hard for something, especially for like Emerald Amber, to deal with these like locations. This deck doesn't have a ton of like strength on its characters, and so may have a little bit of a hard time dealing with these locations as they come down. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, this is definitely an interesting deck. Seeing some like locations probably come out and kind of be like that aggro-y type of deck, which is kind of neat to see. And especially seeing the Amber Emerald deck here with the Under the Sea combo. It's a very strong and powerful combo to see kind of going off if it gets pulled off. Just being able to bounce a lot of characters back to the opponent's hand and deck really is pretty big and big kind of tempo swing going into the game. So hopefully he can pull it off.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because the deck has a lot of disruptive tools anyway, to hopefully get to the point where it gets to pull off the Under the Sea combo. But I am kind of interested to see how he deals with locations, since Under the Sea doesn't actually hit locations. Um, it might pose a bit of a problem. Like I said, the combination of not having a ton of strength and Under the Sea not hitting locations could definitely pose a problem.
Yeah, no, that could be definitely a problem, especially with like you're saying, the Under the Sea really focuses on having characters on board and really bouncing those back, and it doesn't touch anything with locations. So for it
You know?
just hitting characters, and if he doesn't get a lot of characters out, and those locations can carry the game through a win here.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if the Emerald Amber player like tries to stick a Diablo really early. Amber Amethyst doesn't really have good ways of answering something like Diablo. Might be able to pull him ahead in the game. Um, so we'll see what happens here.
Looks like we get to play Hidden Cove here as our turn one play for the Emerald Amber deck, getting that first kind of location down and seeing what happens. But it looks like our player two or player one passed here, going back to player two and seeing what he kind of does next here.
Yeah, typical turn two Ursula here. She's so strong. He inked up Muses. That's a card I'm been a lot higher on recently. That card is, I mean, we saw it in the Vegas challenge this past weekend, and it's such a house sometimes. It can just kind of do everything, and it's pretty strong.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a big strong card, and especially in this deck too, it makes it even stronger, just reducing the power and the strength of opposing characters and stuff. So now we
Both players
finally got
getting
a
locations
location.
down here.
Yeah, we got our first location, and it is Forbidden Mountain, I believe. Looks like they're gonna gain some lore from it here.
Here's the Diablo. He has to hope that this Diablo sticks for a little while, I think.
Yeah, no, Diablo definitely does have to stick here to help give him that draw. And being an evasive body where it's a little hard to deal with is definitely a strong card to have.
Yeah, luckily right now he's not feeling a ton of pressure from his opponents, so he kind of just gets to do whatever he wants right now, until the Amber Amethyst player sticks something to kind of pose a problem. But this Forbidden Mountain, I think, is going to probably do a lot of work. Having 6 willpower against Amber Emerald is not nothing.
So now we see a Fix-It Felix Jr. with Bodyguard coming out on the field. Coming in exerted too, just so we can enable that Bodyguard, but I don't know if that really is going to do anything since there's not really any other characters on board here.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's not like the Amber Emerald's gonna run a Diablo or this Ursula into it. Um, it just kind of a force of habit, I imagine.
But we do see an
Whiffing on the
aerial.
aerial, I believe, too.
Yeah, he did whiff on the aerial. Nothing really happened there, but we moved Diablo over to the Hidden Cove and questing out to gain more lore.
Interestingly enough, he could have chosen to take out the Fix It Felix there and had his Diablo survive. Not again, not too big of a deal, but he could have done that.
Now we see that Diablo work after playing Friends, being able to let that Diablo draw even more cards. So he has drawn an additional 3 cards during his opponent's turn, which is pretty huge to see more cards from your deck in your hand now. Now you can play more cards next turn.
Trying to see what the Amber Emerald player has in terms of options here.
It looks,
Shifting Felix.
yeah, we just shift to Felix here and should be exerted here. Because did he sing the song or pay the 3 for the song at the beginning of this turn?
He sung it, so it should be
It
exerted.
should be exerted, yeah. But I think that's okay for the moment. We will ink a Maleficent down and play a queen, and passing there. So it should be exerted, but I think that's okay for the moment. Don't know if it really will matter here, because he's not going to really go into challenging it. And now we're going to play You Have Forgotten Me. So making the player 1 discard 2 cards here from their hand, which is getting rid of a lot of their resources so that they can either play some characters or draw cards or anything like that. Getting those other locations and bodies down, it's just really big. And then we're finally, it looks like we might be thinking about either questing out, but we did move the aerial to the Hidden Cove, and giving her that extra strength and the extra willpower there, just so that they can either quest for more or kind of survive a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, giving this Ariel an extra power here might be relevant to some point with this Fix It Felix, who is quite honestly pretty big. He might just have to use this Ariel to attack at some point.
Yeah, this Felix just gives those locations an extra 2 willpower, does make your locations pretty beefy. Is definitely really nice, making that Forbidden Mountain now a 8 willpower instead of that normal 6 that it has. So which is really cool.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, with Amber Emerald going, no cards in hand now. Um, this Amber Emerald is looking to just under the sea as soon as possible here. They have the means to sing it right now. The only card they wouldn't hit is the Fix It Felix, and I honestly think that's okay. It might even just be worth doing, even though he doesn't. He doesn't hit the one character. Um, oh, are we gonna see the new Ana?
We
Oh
are.
yeah,
Ooh, we get to see
I love
Anna.
this card.
This Anna is a
Yeah,
really cool
so
card.
I've been wanting to play with her since the set release. For exactly this reason, you can throw this Ursula, who's just kind of a 1/3. Um, oh, and he gets to Under the Sea. Wow, this
Oh,
is strong.
wow. Clears the
Yeah, no,
board.
this Ana's huge.
That's a
Yeah, like I was
big
saying, we
play.
saw it in the
Wow.
Vegas challenge. Yeah, we saw it in the Vegas challenge. Um, And honestly, like, I don't know, it just does so much. The versatility is so nice to have.
Yeah, that's insane. Just, I mean, this Ana just being able to come down on turn 5, because she is a 3 cost normally, but if you pay an additional 2, you can choose like one of the 3 effects that she has. And one of them is getting rid of a character that has any damage on it, which is crazy. Just being able to ping that extra 1 damage to pretty much banish any character that you want as long as it has that damage on it, is really big. And then now being able to sing that whole entire Under the Sea, just to basically return all those characters back to the player's deck is huge, and it cleared out his whole entire board.
Yeah, her modes I think are give a character +2 strength, banish a character that has any damage on it, or each opponent discards a card. And they're all just relevant modes, I think, for especially for this deck. And also, like, she's a 2/3 that quests for 2, so if you wanted to play her on turn 3, like, you absolutely could. Um, but right now, I think this Amber Amethyst player is he is staring down 3 birds right now, and yeah, I don't know if he has a way to fight back anymore.
Yeah, and this is a definitely a big board state on our player too with the Emerald Amber cards is definitely big, having 3 Diablos on board, an Ana, and an Ariel that he can pretty much just go back in and sing any song he wants to at this point and just clear out the board even more. And those locations that he has are not really doing a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this Queen of Hearts can help him do something. It locks down a thing, which is like, it exerts it and keeps it exerted. And hopefully that, like, that might help him a little bit, but I think our Amber Emerald player has the win next turn if player 2 does not have an answer, and a Prince John too.
Wow. No, everybody's moved to the hidden cove. Everybody is hidden. It's crazy. It's just all that's now at the location. Now, since he has 3 Diablos exerted, opponent's drawing for turn, and he just gets to draw 3 cards now with those Diablos and just refills his hand back up.
Yeah, he probably has like way too many cards in his in his hand right now.
And yeah, there's really not much he can do at this point. Wow.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna scoop it up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Game 1 going to Amber Emerald. All right, all right.
Yeah, that's a big clean. I don't know if there was a lot of ways to come back from that one. Just being able to basically clear the board and had nothing left in hand was definitely rough for the Ember Amethyst player.
Yeah, Amber, the player 2 really caught him. He played out what I affectionately refer to as jazz hands, where he has no cards in hand anymore. He caught him on that turn with that Ana Under the Sea. It was, I think that was like absolutely backbreaking. I think the game was pretty, unless that Amber Emerald player has some real spice, I don't think there was a way he truly comes back from it. Um, but yeah, that was just like kind of the backbreaking moment.
Yeah, that was a big turn in the play of just seeing all those cards come out and then just going, cool. All right, you thought you could come back from it? I'm gonna drop 2 more Diablos, and you don't have answers for those. And
Yeah.
was just pretty insane.
I think if I'm the Amber Amethyst player right now, I'm looking for as many locations as I possibly can get. Pretty early. And just kind of bank on the back of those because my opponent can't interact with them very well. So we'll have to see what kind of game plan he goes here for game 2, but that's probably what I would expect him to do.
Yeah, that probably seems like the best thing to do is just trying to find those locations here, because there is really no in way to interact with them. So this altering is definitely a big thing for him here. because it looked like he had a lot of characters and only 2 locations in hand. It seems like he kept 1 location and 1 character and put all the rest back, so I wonder what else he's gonna draw here and see if that could change anything on his, turn 1 and turn 2 plays.
Yeah, I do remember now. I'm not sure if he is running it, but he has the man, I cannot remember the name of the character now. Um, the owl.
Oh,
Um,
Archimedes?
Archimedes. Yeah, thank you. He has the 3 cost Archimedes with evasive.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not sure if he's running the shift cost one, the Floodborn Archimedes. Um, if he is, it does give him a pretty decent answer to Diablo. Apologize, I'm trying to look for it right now.
It has a
uh,
evasive and challenger 3, and it shifts for
yeah, I
3.
can't remember the turn. It shifts for 3. That's what I was
Yeah.
looking for. Dreamborn's being a bit of a annoying right now, but yeah, shifting for 3. That's huge. Like it has challenger 3. You said.
Yeah, so it's
Um,
a 4. It becomes a 4/4 when challenging.
yeah, that's huge. Getting to take out 2 Diablos. And coming down like the turn, like if he tries to shift a Diablo, he gets to take it out. Like he has options to take care of it, which I didn't think he had originally. So that's kind of neat. Hopefully we see something like that.
Yeah, hopefully so. And we do see, it looks like we see a decent amount of characters in there, but nothing really being able to go play because they're both in going into turn 2 here. And it looks like he inks a location and plays a magical maid. And hopefully maybe being able to quest with that a little bit quicker to kind of stay on board, hopefully, it looks like.
Yeah, if he takes these early turns and just tries to push as much lore as possible, I imagine that's kind of what he's looking for.
And we see a our snake friend here with evasive. It's a 3/1. And you know, it might be banished after it challenges something. It still can do a lot of damage to those locations with the 3 power, the 3 strength on it.
Not anymore. That magical maid is humongous.
Oh yes,
Um, I actually don't think what is Rapunzel is +3 3 willpower.
yeah.
So I mean it's Sirhis isn't really doing a whole lot anymore.
No, Sirhis is doing nothing. It becomes a 5 willpower card here, so that is a little rough. But Sirhis is singing Sun and Chill here, so and with a Prince John on
Getting
board,
the
being able to draw a card after his opponent discard a card, really good.
Yeah, I really like the Rapunzel's tower here. He has to hope to keep his opponent off of Ariel. I think, especially if he sees like Ariel go find Under the Sea. Um, so maybe he just kind of commits to only playing a certain amount of characters, but also being able to move them to Rapunzel's tower so that, yeah, so they kind of stay alive. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we see a dock and it being moved to Rapunzel's tower here. So maybe being able to reduce some costs to characters after he quests. So you could play some more characters might be really good here to see. Of course, with Doc having a bigger willpower now, a lot higher willpower is definitely strong. But we do see a Ariel on the board here trying to find one of those songs and it looks like he's trying to find which one it is, and he found a sudden chill. He's going to add to
Mm.
hand here, which is good to kind of thin out that opponent's hand. And since he does have that Prince John, he can do it all over again and just discard a card from the opponent's hand and draw another card, which is really strong.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we see since Sirhis isn't really doing a whole lot. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he chooses to do to dig a little deeper for Under the Sea for next turn.
And exactly what he does.
If I'm not mistaken, he might have another Sudden Chill in his hand because that's a foil one. And I don't think the one he found off of Ariel was foil. So that also could be pretty huge.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it was a foil one. I'm trying to see if I can see it in his hand here, but I can't quite see. He's keeping it kind of hidden over there. But I do see some other cards that seem pretty strong over here. That we might see come out. But it looks like we're just going to be questing out on our player one side here, and then being able to play a goat to gain an extra lore here to hopefully to kind of just start questing out. So forgot to gain a lure off the goat, but it looks like it'll be fine. I think they might be talking about it. If not, then it'll be added here shortly. But those are some big things. Now goat has a total of 6 willpower, which is that's a big goat. That is a big goat.
I think the bigger thing is that it has 4 strength too right now. It's gonna take a lot to like actually under the sea it, and even if he does get that trigger, so that's pretty. Being at 8 already is pretty nice for the Amber Amethyst player here.
Which is true. Very big willpower and very big strength here. It's definitely very good to have to knock out some of those characters on the opposing side so that they can't sing songs or do other things that that player was wanting. And there we go. We do see that sudden chill. Discarding that last card
Ah,
from the opponent's hand.
I had a sneaking suspicion. We do see a genie going to the discard, and I do find the genie kind of interesting here. Too, it would have been interesting being able to exert all of the singers on the other side and take a chance to like get rid of them all. Um, really would have kept this Amber Amethyst player from getting blown out by like Under the Sea in the near future here.
Yeah, sadly that genie is a 7 cost, so he's not going to be able to play it anytime soon with that 4 ink, and especially if that player just keeps having his hand discarded from the sudden chills. Of course, there's 3 in the discard now, but still seeing cards like that and like You Have Forgotten Me would definitely reduce a lot of those cards. So he may not even be able to get the 7 ink in the turn.
Well, he has this dock house, so he really only needs a couple
6.
like 1 or 2 more ink to get there. Yeah, I was just thinking like in the long run, he like there was an option. I especially because I don't know that his opponent quite has Under the Sea. Otherwise, I feel like we would have seen it by now. Um, but yeah, the Bruno's also a good option here. It does the same thing. Gets him a draw trigger off the John. Um, gets rid of the dock. Is opening up the John for an attack here too. Trying to not not get crushed under the weight of Amber Amethyst's questing power here.
Well, I mean, too, it's also there wasn't any cards in the opposing hand, so there was really no reason to keep it there because it's not really gaining anything if he's just going to keep playing cards. So the effect kind of useless at this point, but getting that 2 lore is definitely important right now.
Yeah, I mean Prince John is like it's tough here because you don't really want to throw out Prince John because he is like your value engine. But also like you're right, he is not gaining too much value anymore. But if your opponent is ever caught with no, like a card in hand because they can't play it, you always get that draw off of it. And I like using it. I only really like questing with Prince John when he's pretty much absolutely safe, or you have like another Prince John to play.
Well,
I
we
think we're
see
gonna
a
see.
Kita. Oh, we're going to see. Is this Under the Sea? Are we going to see it? It looks
I
like I
think
see it
that's
in his
it.
hand.
Yeah.
And there it is, Under the Sea with Kita reducing all the strength of his opposing characters by 3, and then singing with the 2 aerials Under the Sea, bouncing all those characters back into the deck. Wow, now it's back to a clear board, and it looks like this can be very close to the game at this point.
Notably, the Amber Amethyst missed their goat triggers. Um, I don't know if you'll remember those or not, but I still think that there's a real shot for
I
the
bet.
Amber Amethyst player in this moment in time. Like He is at 11 currently, and his opponent's only at 4.
I
So if
mean,
he can find a character or two to just stick, it could win in the game.
it's true, but I mean, he did miss the goat triggers. I think he did miss one of the other goat triggers earlier on, so he should be at 14 here, lore. So this should be he should be pretty close to getting close to game, but having those all these characters on board at this point, and now dropping a Kristoff that has bodyguard, and being able to reduce the cost because she has a lot of songs in the discard is pretty huge here. And going up to 9 lore here can be definitely a detrimental thing, and it looks like he just kinda inked and passed. We don't know what he inked here, but that's okay. We know it's gonna be something here, and it looks like we are questing going to 17 and pretty much gonna win next turn at this point.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I had no clue he was playing this Kristoff. Pretty, I mean, pretty good for this deck. It is considering it does play a ton of songs. Um, so it is a pretty good just end game finisher here too. And yeah, we're gonna see seeing Quest for the finish. Amber Amethyst unfortunately kind of petering out towards the end of the game there after getting Under the Sea, which I mean is not unexpected. It is kind of what Amber Amethyst or Emerald Amber looks to do. Um, Kind of like the same thing that Red Purple likes to do, where it just like kind of be prepares your opponent and wins the game afterward. Very reminiscent of that kind of strategy.
Eh. Yeah, it does have some very similarities to the Emmer or the Ruby Amethyst decks here. Is definitely it has some very similar stuff, but it feels like it has to set up a little bit more for it. But it's still a powerful card and a very powerful engine and combo that goes off. Very, very strong and powerful. Being able just to bounce all those characters and then pretty much leave them with nothing. And they, even though they get those cards back later on, maybe in the game, uh, it doesn't quite matter because it's just going to never see them because you're going to win too early on for it.
Yeah, I think with Emerald Amber, like you're looking to win the turn or two after you Under the Sea, which is what we saw both games. Like he would Under the Sea and he would just have everything just quest out for 2 turns and kind of take the game from there. Um, yeah, like this deck is a lot more disruptive than the Ruby Amethyst decks, where the Ruby Amethyst decks are looking to like challenge and take advantage through like of trading efficiently 1 for 1, that kind of thing. This deck isn't looking to challenge and trade 1 for 1 so much as it is just kind of looking to set up that one big turn and then win the 2 turns afterward.
Yeah, no, definitely. It has a lot more cheaper characters or smaller characters that do quest for quite a bit. With like your, what is it, the Curse Merfolk, your Prince Johns, and you have a lot of things that quest for two for pretty cheap that you can pretty much kind of just control and keep your characters on board a lot longer. And especially with Under the Sea only affecting your opponents and not your board as well, is very strong in keeping those characters so you can win those 1 or 2 turns after where normally Be Prepared would let you have to build your board back up and completely and then do it all over again.
Yeah. It's I mean it's almost kind of almost reminiscent of like the red blue decks where they just like kind of Tamatoa dime and win the game after they like be prepared and CCU multiple times. This deck is just looking to do it once. It's like a weird mashup of like 2 or 3 decks.
It is
um
definitely a weird deck. I like this deck, and I like seeing that Under the Sea, especially with the Kita. Justice is a very powerful card in that. Just being able to play Kita and then seeing the Under the Sea is very strong. Being able to pretty much just return all the characters back into the deck at this point.
yeah, the deck is like noticeably hard to play around unless you're playing like Bare Necessities or your own Ursula Deceiver or any way to like snag that Under the Sea before it becomes live. Like you just need to like Kita can come down any time with like an aerial and something. Like if you don't have any ways to interact with your opponent's stuff, it's kind of hard to deal with. especially for a color combination like Amber Amethyst that doesn't really have the removal to deal with what they're doing. Um, so it's definitely like favored for Emerald Amber here, I think. So
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good match and definitely interesting to see these two decks face off against each other. But thank you guys for joining us. It was great seeing these cool two decks face off and seeing which one goes off and seeing those combos for both players' decks was really neat to see. Come join us again on our next one here as we go more into the Ink Archive. Until then, we will see you next time.
yeah.